May set-ons be epic. Welcome, Supreme Commanders. Got an epic for you today. May not just a month, but also a command. As the most popular map of all time, average rating 1556. Spread is between 1200 and 2180. All chose a faction, none chose Aeon. Also got a little bit of news from FAF headquarters before we kick this thing off, so let's have a little look. Roey's been in touch. Yeah, turn that down a little bit. So, new 1 versus 1 league system is all set to go on July the 1st this year. This is a thing that's going to be happening 4 times a year. Apparently 2 months out of every 3 for all the 4 seasons. I've expanded one of the little prize avatars there. You can see, you know, those little things that appear next to your name. Those are new icons up for grabs, and you can see there's 4 tiers there. Grandmaster, Master, Diamond, Gold, and so that means just because you ain't a 2K rated player doesn't mean that you don't have a chance of winning. There are 4 tiers. If you want more information on that, or you got some ideas on what can help make 1 versus 1 more relevant, again, Roey wants to hear from you. There's the instructions on screen on how to make your ways over. But for now, let's crack on with the game. Also, yeah, while we're waiting for the intro sequence here, thank you to everybody who took part in the poll I put out 2 or 3 days ago. Over 100 people voted as of right now. Some of the comments were brutally honest. I appreciate them nonetheless. 79% of people were against skipping player introductions, but out of those, there was a very clear advantage asking that the introductions for the players be tightened up a little bit, and so that's the way it's going to go. Of course, all of the introduction, I'm going to allow those that want to, you know, if you don't want to hear me waffling on, you don't got to. You can skip it all out. Some people say, well, why not just add more chapters for everything? And it's like, well, at the end of the day, I mean, I could add a chapter for when the final guy goes boom. Basically, I'm against the whole race to the bottom that is currently what's happening in society. You know, the whole TikTok thing and all the rest of it. I'm not a fan, and I realize I'm going to be part of a dying generation saying that at some point. And I know there's going to be others as well. But this constant need for 100% saturated attention and any nuance and detail that I ain't interested. You know, and I know that there's especially the very young ones coming through school. It's not their fault. They've just been born and bred that way. Unfortunately, I am making a stand. I'm not going to help facilitate that. If you can't be asked to listen to us waffling on, that's fine. You can skip that. But player introductions, let's see if I can tighten it up. And so let's press that button. Yeah, so the game going down within the last 24 hours. Game sounds coming in. All right, here we go. And so as part of the introduction, we may as well start with the players, and let's see how quick we can do this. So, Team 1 for the set-ons players. These are the guys at the top. These are the guys with a 25-point advantage. We've got Ratus Rat. He's a 2200 Seraphim as purple. To his north in blue is JT in Cybran, a 1600. I think this guy has played more set-ons games than anybody else on the planet. Do let us know if you disagree. He's going first land for Beach. In the back for Team 1 is Oshleary in grey. He's a 1300 UEF going first land as well. And last but not least, in Cliff spot is Nick 420. Blaze it, bro. He's a 1200 going Cybran as yellow. First air, no doubt, so it can help cap off his side island. Was that quick enough? I don't know. Let's go back over to the white side. Team 2, the opposite side in white is Fat Hamster. He's a 1500 also going Cybran there for the Beach for his team. In the back, air slot for Team 2 in Ferrari Red is a Troubled Panda. He's a 1500 Seraphim player. And yeah, I was thinking of some silly joke to say about being troubled, but alas, I was troubled coming up with one. So, skipping on round then to Oz_Paul. Wonder where this guy's from. In Sky Blue, he's a 1200. He's also Seraphim. He's also going first land, despite his opposite number going first air. And then last but not least is Psalm 139. He's a 2000 rated in green. Forward slot for Team 2 going first land. And at risk of... Let's get rid of that. I realise I left it in last video. At risk of completely screwing around with how long we're allowed to introduce players for, seeing as there's no shot yet fired, let's waffle it on a little bit more and say, I actually looked up what Psalm 139 was recently because I didn't have a clue, and I see this guy popping up a lot, and it's something to do with God knowing you and what you're doing and what you're trying to do and what your thoughts and intentions are before you do. And so, yeah, there he is, making his way towards the mid. Does God already understand the outcome of this game? I don't know. And it's a massive can of worms that I wish I hadn't opened. So let's close it back up, because all that I know is there are 4 players making their way towards the mid, and let's leave it there. Music today, once again, courtesy of Philip Crofts, who is hopefully making a new mod. I do wish, right, one thing, you always get the more serene tunes unless you yourself are playing, or if, say, I take the viewer's Psalm here, as soon as the other commander comes near, we're going to get the action type music, but then if I drop back to Observer, it's the... And that happens to everybody's music, by the way. It's not just individual soundtracks. And so I'm hoping there's a way around that. Perhaps they can just mix all the songs together in one soundtrack and call it a casters. Anyway, let's focus in on the action as these guys are about to get going. And bit of a mistake here from Psalm 139. He holds short a little ways off. He's very quickly rectified that, but those 2 or 3 seconds in the early phases of the game, when a game is exponential in the way, the growth, the economy, the number of units, etc., a pause early on is massive. And Sam there, 139. He's already 200 rating points below his opponent. I think slightly less, actually, but the scoreboard always rounds them off in the custom games to the nearest 100. If we take a look there at the mass figures, for those who may want to know, interesting that they pop through the minimap. You learn something every day, or if you're me, you learn 5 things and forget 10. Both Seraphim commanders there up front, and the 2 beach players rolling onto the scene. Minute 4, 25 seconds or so. And as we've said before, I think Team 1 up north may have a slight advantage due to the vessels being accessible there. A little nearer. Fat Hamster arriving, but what's he doing, JT? Well, he is arriving to provide support with his gun first and foremost. Didn't just make a beeline for the nearest sailing wreck and call it a day. So 4 commanders in very close proximity here. For those who are wondering, let's just do it the one time. So let's select Fat Hamster, and we can see here what the commander is capable of on here. I think some of these DPS, that must be going off the Mesa, because there's no way he's putting out 18,350. I had to really lean forward to see. I couldn't believe that. Let's have a look about Ratus Rat then. That's more like it, 3,100. So basically these figures are assuming that the commander has got every upgrade going. Until then it's just 100 DPS per shot. And if it's 1 shot per second, well, you do the math. Even those who got an F can probably figure that one out. So zooming out momentarily, we can see Nick 420 certainly got control of his side. Ozpol over here. Ozpol. I mean, that's the name. It's the name. if we go into his clan and all. But either way, it looks like he's got a lot of air here. Not yet taken the island. Is now flying a transport ship in. I can only assume there's that much air there because if the other guy gets transport out first, he wants to be able to intercept it before it gets there. It's a very heavy investment in air at the expense of a much delayed capturing of the side island. Of course, if the other guy was making a play for the island, that would work in your favor. But if JT, and we can see, as far as I can tell, had no intention of capturing the island, that is an expensive delay, if that's the word you want to use, in capturing the side island. Of course, with the 5 mass points, that's 10 mass per tick without any upgrades at all. Fat Hamster here picks off a drop that was attempted from Nick 420. Intel for days off the coastline there. JT still JT, I'll tell you what, right? The 1600 Cybran here in the darker blue. I don't see, I mean, he plays a lot, so this is how I know it. I don't see any other player, or very few, scouting as heavy as he does off the coastline. I mean, look at this. This is his patrols. You can see he's got interceptors together with scouts. And so this guy really wants to make sure that something may or may not be coming. And those of you that like your Tech 3 commander rushes, you know, that kind of thing, that ain't going to work against JT. We see JT as well as Fat Hamster now, the 2 beach players for the respective teams, backing off. And this is one of the most unremarkable, uneventful openings to a set-ons I've ever seen. Both players walling off the midsection. Ratus Rat just on a lazy patrol here. He's just happy to bag him send some of these trees. Unfortunately, the clumps aren't quite tight enough to register as mass. We saw that the other day on one of the maps that was insane. I'd never seen you know, trees clumped tightly enough before so you actually got the mass registration. For those that don't know, if you press Control and Shift together without anything else, you get these little mass indicators like this. You can see here a couple of 10 mass spots here. And by default, when you zoom out, you can see the 2 10s become 20 and so on. Well, on that map, you zoomed out and all the trees started combining. We saw thousands of mass worth just in the trees. There were an awful lot. So far, Fat Hamster then, if we take a look in the southern pond, just with 1 Navy yard online, he's ordered 2 subs. That is all. No doubt preferring to go for eco. If you take a look, he's already Tech 2, as far as I can tell, across the board, and he's starting to cap off a lot of those mass points inside 10 minutes. And so there's your target, guys. If you're beach player, inside 10 minutes, everything's got to be Tech 2. Inside. Of course, it's a lot easier to do things like that as the air slot. Not just because you've got trees, but nobody expects anything from you inside 10 minutes. Everybody knows, you know, you're taking up. Air is to come from the 2 side players. Sometimes you get the front player chipping in inside 10 minutes. Another drop attempt then from Nick 420. You know, sometimes when games start slow, and I'm going to start shooting myself in the foot here. And I've seen one game before that was really, really good second half. I've not uploaded it. It was really, really good second half. But the first half, there was so little happening until 25 minutes. And it was a pro game as well. It was very unusual in that regard. That I didn't cast it because all that I could say for 25 minutes was, trust me, it does get better. But it's like, well, can you really say that for 25 minutes? And I thought, well, the other alternative is, of course, I just start the game 25 minutes in. But yeah. Nice drop though from Nick 420. I like the way that he run away from Fat Hamster's commander, but Psalm 139 was on the ball and picks up all but 2 of the units. And just 2 are left online. 1 Mantis, 1 Sky Slammer. And Sam, look at this. This is just a pro player, right? He knows that 2 units have to be able to defeat this. And so he only sends 2 down. There's 1. And he knows that one's probably going to lose because it was a Mantis and a Sky Slammer. There's the second. Not a single unit wasted. That is pro play. Doesn't even bother sending 3. He knows 2 will win. He knows 1 probably won't. Bit of a problem here for Fat Hamster. Nick 420, despite being 300 points behind, is a shed load of frigates ahead. He had a few subs in the mix and all. And Fat Hamster, 12 minutes, 30 seconds, has been wiped out. And not only that, he's got a couple of mass points exposed. Tech 2 capped off. And that's now gone. Let's have a look at Fat Hamster's eco. Well, it's mass that he would rather not lose. He's got a couple of Tech 3 points already. Or rather 1 here. He is working on more. See him using the old pause. He's even reclaiming Tech 1 power generators. But he's been booted out. Bit of a panic build here with some Tech 1 getting the Tech 1 point defense there to dissuade him from going too close to the coastline. And you can see by the direction of the point defense, the fact it's not facing due south indicates it did indeed get a few shots off despite not getting a kill. Hamster now continuing to self-detonate buildings, or self-destruct perhaps is a better word, to make use of the mass. And there we see 194. He very quickly reclaims it, and that's been funneled into this point now. Nick 420, reasons unknown, backs way off. Fat Hamster goes back into the water. Look at this. Fat Hamster, the Cybran, is Tech 2. He's got stealth, and importantly, the nanite torpedo launcher. And so it's going to be very difficult for Nick 420 to spot. But because of the nanite torpedo launcher, all of this Tech 1 spam that was brilliant at denying Fat Hamster the Navy is going to be quite difficult at, when faced up against a commander with nanite torpedo launcher. And Fat Hamster, I think, has decided that he's ecoed long enough. Quick check up here. Air dominance from Oshiri in the area. Let's just go with Osh. As Ozpol attempts to deny JT. JT does have a Tech 2 HQ. It's about halfway done. And he's pouring engineers forward to try and finish it. He knows he needs that destroyer. And Ozpol backs off. Checking back down in the south side. This is what we were talking about. Look at this. Fat Hamster, 5 kills. We saw 4, 5. And he's firing torpedoes. He's been denied Navy a second time. He's now got 6 kills. And Nick 420 has got a tough choice to make. As we've said, Fat Hamster, I suspect, realises he's ecoed for long enough. He's been bullied out the water. But I'll tell you what, there's one faction in the game that can get back in. And it's Cybran because of the nanite. There's no other... this here, look at him, 9 kills now, also being Tech 2. He's reclaiming these vessels as well as firing all at the same time. He's reclaimed at least 2, if not 3. He's now got 10 kills. those reclaims don't count as kills. And so that's at least 14 now in total. Together with his Cerberus, this one's got 3, this one's got 2, and he's going for these drone kennels. Granted, Nick 420 does pick off his mass point again, but this is a huge amount of mass now. Taking a look there, and all of that just Tech 1. 3,500, there's a 2,000 covering a 1 up slightly. Fat Hamster does have a couple of Tech 2s here. The destroyers, but still mostly frigates and subs. There's the second one. And they're now taking a dislike to Fat Hamster, who's managed to get all of these up to Tech 3. Does look like he's going to lose this particular one. But Nick 420, he's got to be careful here. Because I suspect, let's take a look at incomes overall. As we get just past minute 17. And we see here that Ratus is assisting North Lake. So Team 1, the purple guy there on front, helping JT out. And that's usually to be expected, of course. We've said a million times that this is the weakest slot, economically speaking, in the game. Up against the strongest. That's purely due to the number of mass points, for those wondering. It has access to the fewest. Second Tech 3 mass points. That's over 50 mass a tick now that Fat Hamster's down. And if he gets that third one, it's going to be 81. Let's take a look then. We were wanting to do this. It's 968 versus 950 favouring Team 1. And so you take off these two, and that advantage was the other way on. And so very close scores. And all the difference right now thanks to Nick. I'm surprised that Fat Hamster hasn't at least either tried to reclaim this or just put a Tech 1 mass point. Again, we know it's just, I think it's 18 seconds the mass point needs to be online to pay for itself. And any second after that is a 2 mass advantage for every second. Troubled Panda has him send an Omni online. This is massive, by the way. For those, you know, if you ever play set-ons, whether the front guy asks for it, whether your air let me try and speak properly. If you're playing set-ons, the air guy, for him to use his air properly, he has to see the planes coming before, you know, to wait until the planes overrun your base and then ask for help. By the time he shifts his air over there, it can all be too late. If he has an Omni radar, he can see. And so if he doesn't build one himself or he's too busy doing something else, build him an Omni sensor. If he can see what's coming, he can help you out in good time. And we can see here that he's done it for himself. If we take a look on the other side, Ratus Rat has done it on Oshiri's behalf. And so this was what I was fearing a little bit now from Nick 420. He backed way off. I realized he couldn't hog the coastline, but I certainly think that his destroyers in this sort of area would be able to put fire down without being in range. I get the commander's stealth, you know, the problem's there. I'm talking about holding outside of that. Because with this many drone kennels, he's going to be able to build awfully quick as Fat Hamster. I mean, he's even using them to tech up here. What's this sort of eco doing? Well, it's flying and it's coming over here. It's going to rebuild. We've also got Psalm 139 getting involved big time. And with all of these units now, well, they take a dislike to Psalm 139, but, you know, Cyberns you can dance. They're not beam weapons. It's perhaps a little shame that he didn't stick around just long enough to finish this off. I get it. He's got a bail overall. These are the floating hover tanks from the Seraphim that Psalm 139 is challenging the Navy with. They're not the floating artillery. They are Tech 2 units. Like the Blaze or the Riptide. Of course, the Cyberns don't really have such an equivalent. The Wagner goes underwater. But it does look like Nick 420 has got enough here to bat it away. I think he's retreating a little too far. I don't see why he's got to retreat. This has been a nice win here for Nick. There's a lot of eco there. I'd like to see Nick push back, get his engineers out and start reclaiming. You can see Nick's got the right idea, centrally speaking, there with naval yards. And if you look here, order of the day, send engineers on a big fat lazy reclaim order. Very, very fast. Oh my goodness, was that quick. Psalm 139, he sends about 1 million engineers into the southern pond, gets the Navy Yard out, Tech 2, Tech 3, and boom. That was from first laying down the keel, so to speak, to battleship rolling out. That was one of the fastest I've ever seen, if not the fastest. Destroyers from JT, so much more cagey static game in the north. We see this a lot. It's very risky, you know, when you start pushing Navy. It's like an air fight. If you win, great. Very hard to get back into it if you lose. By definition, if you push, you're fighting on their side, which means they get all the mass if you're not able to win. Because it's on their side, it takes longer for you to reinforce than it does them. So unless you've got overwhelming numbers, now you never want to go in a 50-50 fight on the other side of the map. Ratus Rat gets about as far away as he possibly can from the opposite team. I guess the only thing left for him would be to get a transport and drop himself up here. This here from Nick 420, I like this. Standing, this is one of the best places to be. Not in the middle of the pond, but near the edge. And so if you see enemy planes coming, if you see strap bombs coming, you walk to where it's deeper. If you see torpedoes coming, you can leave. Taking another look back in the middle. All the action so far on the southern side of the pond, or the southern half. What's that? Teleporter done. Troubled Panda starting gun splash. We've seen how dangerous the Seraphim commander can be with all of the upgrades. We'll check back in a minute, but Nick 420 has got problems. Let's just compare his eco. That's before we start looking at Psalm 139, who's definitely assisting south more than north. And Nick 420 at a 1200 rated is massively now outgunned. If you look at the skill from his opponents, not to mention the eco that's now being dumped in specifically the southern pond, Nick 420 is pulling in 245, Fat Hamster 248, and so it's relatively close between these. Let's look total. Nick 420 154, Fat Hamster 181. So actually, despite the side island, big advantage to the Fat Hamster, despite what went on down here. And so, you know, that's not surprising. Is, you know, the rating is part of that. But look at this. Troubled Panda. We said he got the teleport. He's got the gun. And he's just picked off the strongest opponent. And he's now going up against the air grid. And I think when you've not got a cyber opponent, you don't always expect teleportation. Troubled Panda trying to get away. There's a lot of Tech 1 here. Oh, he got a crucial rank of vet. Was that the rank that saved him? It's going to be very, very close. It was. Troubled Panda gets out in the nick of time. Man, was that close. Just 2,000 hit points now remain. It was sub 2,000. Without that rank of vet, what was it? The 4th rank. He was a goner. No two ways about it. Lightning reactions from Alshiri there with his Tech 1 bombers. Was just a few shy. And no question about it. Going Tech 1 saved what would have otherwise been a completely lost air grid. And that there just showing, I think, why players do like to hide in the ponds, at least until they can really afford, you know, a telemazer defense, as it were. Now to produce a shed load of Tech 1 point defense and at least a couple, if not 3 interlocking shield bubbles, it's not the cheapest thing to do early game. Shiri now making use of these Tech 1 bombers, going after a lot of these engineers that we've seen Psalm 139 put out, reclaiming a lot of the battles. And that is very important. Nick 420, he is completely outgunned. Let's push it, says Shiri. Trouble Panda now going for nano repair. And was that at the expense of teleport? Perhaps he feels, yes it was. And so Troubled Panda feeling that his teleportation antics have paid for themselves. And taking out the highest opponent. That's true. And not only that, you force the other opponents to think, well, he's probably still got the teleporter, so they're forced into spending for a defense that now they don't need, because you're no longer playing that way. Of course, Fat Hamster is Cybern, so there's still telemazer chance. Sam 139 taking a few pot shots at range here versus JT. He's got a Tech 3 engineer forward, trying to work on Sam's site sprinklage. Very effective. Sprinkling Sam's sites around versus just a big fat line of concentrated Sam sites. Get a lot of overkill when you wedge them all together. But I'm increasingly concerned. South is screwed, says Nick. Sorry. Give me base. What was that? Give me base. South is lost. I make arty, says JT. And so, yeah, both players, both Navy players there, agreeing that it's lost. JT is asking for all his eco so that he can turn it into Scathis. And here is the Scathis. I like this idea. It does make Nick 420 a little irrelevant, but I would like to think JT gives it all back, or what's left of it, at the time. Trouble Panda flying over, so now this is where Team 2 realise, oh no, he's handed everything off. And Nick 420, being a Cybern, well, what else can you do? Go laser. He's already got the stealth, so he's difficult to see. Go laser. And then potentially the teleport as well. Sam says, you have no shame, Panda. I wonder, with regards to what he's referring to, his own air player. Clearly not. I'm not entirely sure what he's getting at. I thought he was perhaps talking about what had gone on the other side, but he's talking about his own air player. He's not spending on South. Did you notice, says Ashiri? Yes. Not even an ounce.
Strategic launch detected.
Uninstall the game, please. Nuke out, though. Trouble Panda. Because you won this for us. Let's have it. Well, what we got? 250 fighters at half an hour. And Ashiri, what's he got? 301. I won't be so sure to say you've won it for them. Now this nuke, is this just to help cripple JT's... Oh, what would be basically that the base handed over to JT to help prevent the rate at which the Scathis is being built? I think there's your answer. Yes. And that actually only picking off 3 of the 4 core mass points. It did pick off this one over here, so it still does total 4 mass points. So I'm not sure if shifting it over was a clean advantage or not. I suspect he was hoping for 5. Everybody going nano repair on team 2. I'm wondering, 3 of them are Seraphim. I'm wondering if they may be going for a combined group telly. Or some major attack. We've got Eco Nanotech 3, Eco Nanotech 3, and where's the other one? Gun, Nano, and Splash. Okay. Scratch what I was just saying. First defense sat out from Ashiri. Oh, the Scathis, man, was that quick. Is this one of the fastest Scathis I've ever seen? This 32 minutes, 28 seconds, and we see the droplets out. Nick 420 says, nice, I'd like to see JT hand at least part of his base back. I think it would be, you know, this area here at the minimum. We see even air, no, not airplay, he's just eco in here. Let's just have a look down here, see if they've identified anything. Well, we've seen the chat. There's no ping having gone down. Do you know, this is actually a little surprising that we've not had a scout from the southern team. Stop your navy, says Sam, and make an Awasa. Yeah, good point. You've won navy. In comes these droplets then. Oh, that's going to be a surprise for Troubled Panda. And if his team didn't see it before, and he's a little light on engineers as well, he's not going to be able to get shield in this area quickly. We see there are engineers further back. They're working on an eco grid basically, which is, well, not what you want, and he's just lost his main air grid completely wiped off the map. See his diverted engineers over. Big air now over here, but the thing is, he hasn't even got air. He may think he has. He's got 370 versus 3. Oh, it's pretty close. 360 versus 370. Problem is, Trouble Panda's just lost half of his grid. He's got his forward grid here. So you want to try and keep the eye out on this engage. Scathis fire now taking a dislike to Ozpol's base. And here is the fight that we've been waiting for. Let's take a look at Troubled Panda's air. 250 remains. 240. 220. 200. 180. 160. 140. 120. 100. 90. 80. 70. 60. 50. 40. 20. And that's basically it. And so Ashiri, very nice win there. He's got 103. Trouble Panda may have a few more. No, he hasn't. Everything else is scouts. So has he paused? He's paused. He's not producing. I suspect it's due to a loss of power. It requires the energy for shields. The Scathis is incoming. And this has allowed Ashiri's whalers, or broadswords in this case, to go up against this navy. We saw JT very heavily pressured by both players. Psalm 139 together with Ozpol now need to come up where we do have a whole bunch of flax here on the line. Notice how that's forced Ashiri's air to go elsewhere. You want to get all your navy in this area. Ashiri then flies over with his ASF, but again, that's going to be very costly to do. And the Scathis fire continues raining through. So it's one of those crazy games again. One team's massively ahead with the standoff, the other team massively so with the navy. We've got a chicken here holding the line for JT that's eating an awful lot of long-range missile fire. Those missiles will eventually finish it off. And Nick, he's still trying to get his upgrade. Notice that's taken an awful long time. Of course, he's got no eco. Shiri's broadswords here just tearing up Ozpol's economic options. Going all for the Tech 3 mass points first, and then after that, not matter so much. Naval factory, why not? And the Scathis fire continues to decimate. Got one defense sat now, joined by the second from Ashiri. And I suspect they really don't like this nuke defense. Troubled Panda has no tech on his commander, and all of these engineers are tech 1. So it's going to be hard for him to get more shields in the immediate area. JT with a few ASF of his own, perhaps realizing this is a difficult situation. This is not looking good if you're rooting for Team 2, I have to say. The silver lining, however, the extreme domination in the southern pond. We see Fat Hamster taking over the side island as well, that rightfully belongs to Team 1. Shiri continuing to commit war crimes with his broadswords here. A lot of them very heavily damaged. So as these get too close to the flak, Seraphim cruisers especially good versus these. We can see a few of them now beginning to tumble out the sky as a consequence to it. Broadsword's very expensive to make. Shiri with a bunch more Tech 1 bombers here. JT with economic options for days. What is JT's income now? 1.6. So ways ahead. He's over 2 to 1 ahead of the next closest, who is Psalm 139. Saving grace for Team 2 is that 3 of the 4 players were Seraphim, and that enables them the very high quality Tech 3 shield. This here for Psalm. The old dual quantum gateway resourcing options. But the Scathis fire is beginning to crack a few of the shields. Oh, that was not good, and this just needs one more nice shell in the middle and it's gone. Again, gridding up together power with mass fab, and there it's gone. It's gone. Let's have a look here. JT, 409 kills on the Scathis, and he's doing his dual quantum gateway technique. He's got a second Scathis here with 139 kills. I'm just thinking, how on earth can this be an epic? We're only 40 minutes in. Psalm 139 switching gears, going for the spam. He's got the Navy. And Tech 1 spam, if ever there's a way to go against standoff weapons, it's using that. It's like Ashari may be using the I was going to say, but no, he's planning to send it in deep. Psalm 139's base is gone. The only one who's really got a base to speak of is Ozpol. See Fat Hamster trying to re-establish. He's got all these kennels. I'd like to see him get another, few shields in this area. Try re-establish some sort of a base. Troubled Panda has gone Tech 3 on the commander, which is hugely important. He didn't have that last time we checked. The Navy from Team 2 are beginning to push up against JT. I'm just wondering if they can make this work. If they can make this work, this could be their in. Four defense sats now in the area. Well, 4 defense sats and 2 scaffists. I mean, that can get through anything. And, and I think that the bases are so disconnected now that they don't need to even work together. That was the one I was waiting for. That was a huge construction power there from Fat Hamster. Gone. Ozpol's base gone. Yes, we've got this from Psalm, but that's now eating Scaffist fire. TML snipe attempt here from Fat Hamster, but it's been spotted. What sort of range has that got? Well, it's not enough. It's not enough. Broadswords, very good at dealing with the Tech 1 spam. Good unit choice. Look at all those bombers just disintegrating. They do manage to take out the shields. And these SAM sites are, TAP missiles are now firing. But I guess it's just picking off the economic fusion / mass fab combo that JT has, the 2x2s. This has got to be disheartening for Team 2. Tell you what, it's disheartening for me casting. There's got to be something coming back of this. If now it comes back from this, well, you won't be seeing it. That's a bit of a giveaway, I guess, but just because I don't know, there's got to be something here. I do like this, though. It's not all over. There is, they've got both of the oceans. Let's have a look at the incomes. I tell you what, 1.9 to 1.5. You wouldn't think it. You wouldn't think it. So Team 2, despite not really having a base to speak of, are only 400 mass per tick behind. They're now 500. So they're about 25% behind. But to look at that, you'd think it was more like 90%. And that's going to be in no small part thanks to the mobile eco here from Fat Hamster, who's working on a scathis of his own. And if the other team don't spot this, this could be huge. I do like that this was just about kept online. And when you don't centralize stuff, when you dot it around, it makes it very difficult for the, for the other player, the scaffist, to really identify what's worth going after. Nice pickups here with the TAC missiles. I wonder if he's aware that Nick is right there. I mean, Nick does have stealth, so it's not a given. Scaffist fire landed. The problem with the Scaffist, I think it could, yeah, and there you see, it does cause damage to the self. You see Nick there, and this could be a team kill. Nick over halfway gone. More Scaffist rounds landing in. Nick 420, who's been upgrading a laser for days. He's now 2600. Oh, he's 1200 hit points now. One more shell connects before Nick has chance to regen. And that could be a team kill. Nuke is out. Of course, the Southern team with their Navy Dom have nukes. 2 nukes. Look at the pressure here from Team 2. They're pushing right up against. And the 2 nukes connect. See, JT's littered his base with anti-nukes. I guess that was as far as they felt they could push. But JT's almost been kicked out of the sea. Look at this. Nick 420's back to 2000. Oh, talk about a scouting run from Sam. Let's have a look what he can see. That right there, 347 scouts. They're all Tech 3 and all. I guess he just wants to make absolutely sure he can see everything. And if you send 300 and some Tech 3 scouts, challenge anybody to build a base on Setons that would not let that through. What we got on the go back here. Strat bombs, just 4 so far. Bad use. 420. I'm not sure it's a bad use to go after these. They're of course firing nukes and producing aircraft. And now the Scathis fire is coming the other way. Oh, Fat Hamster's got it online. Look at JT's base. I wonder if they've identified it. We've got Navy rolling in from Team 2. This is turning out to be another one of those games where the first half is a little slow. The last half is anything but. Troubled Panda Tech 3 must have been flying around trying to get what he can. 192 kills for Fat Hamster. And the Tech 3 battleships now on the line. I don't believe this. This is going to be the comeback, one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen. If they can pull this off. Come on, man, you've got to be rooting for Team 2. You've got to be rooting for Team 2. And if you're not, well, I don't know what to say, but man, the 2 Scathis from JT are still online. Both of them are half damage. He's got a third now. I don't believe this. JT has called it quits. Nick, what the F? Indeed. Why is he quit? You've still got 3 Scathis. You've got 4. He's got 4. He's got 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. A guy with 4 Scathis has quit. Fat Hamster is shielded up. I want more shields in this area. I want everything. I want point defense, SAM sites, more shields. You name it. Fat Hamster, I want you to build it. Your Scathis, he's picked off one of the Scathis. He's picked off one. In come more rounds. And he may just get 2 and 3 here. Ooh. How those didn't connect, I will never know. Ashiri, I assume there's only one target. I'm not even sure he's seen where the Scathis fire is coming from. What has happened? Well, looks like Ashiri is on a mission now to find where on earth these rounds are coming from. He's lost a second Scathis. This is an unbelievable ending to a very unremarkable first half of a game. I'm just wondering, has Fat Hamster got enough here to prevent these scouts getting through and seeing? Oh, he may have an inkling here. He didn't get eyes on, but I suspect he had an inkling. He's trying to double back, and of course he's got the defense sats. He certainly smells something's wrong over here, and he's got it. He sees it. 283 kills so far for Fat Hamster, but man, have those been important. No way we lose this, bro, says Nick420. He knows that the writing was on the wall half an hour ago, and he's starting. Oh, Fat Hamster has picked off the third Scathis. It's now a 1 versus 1 with regards to Scathis, and I don't believe I'm saying this. I think Team 2 have got the upper hand. This could be the greatest comeback of all time. Nick has finally got his laser. He's only been working on it for half an hour, but he's finally got it. He's now going for the teleporter. The Cybrans doing their thing. The Scathis fire rains in together with the Sats. Fat Hamster has got to keep these shields online. He's got support commanders. Build another shield or something. 330 kills. 4 players still alive on Team 2. And they're going after the air grid from Oshiri. They've switched up. Well, why not? There's the defense sats here as well. All 4 of them are still on. I think it's that time. I think it's that time. Scoreboard can go AFK for a minute. We'll put the map down there. Oh! I was just in time to be too late. No, 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 no. Did they lose it? They lost it. They've lost it. And suddenly... I don't know, man. I don't know. Clearly the guy with the Scathis, when the other team ain't got one, has got the upper hand. I'll put that back. Teleporter 17%. Another huge scouting run. Ozpol with the experimental bomber now. Just wondering, what's the aircraft situation? Ashiri, he's got less than 200 fighters. Fat Hamster, he's got less as well. Closer to 140. But half of those are out of fuel. Oh my goodness. Ozpol just picks off the Scathis, the 4th one. Well, this changes everything. Ozpol is happy to announce in global chat that the Scathis is down, and I don't blame him at all. I would too. Shiri still has the 4 defense sats. And you can see they're picking on support commanders and stealth bases. Once again, I'm leaning in favor of the team with the 4 players versus the 2. I mean, if you stuck it this far, you'll be really glad, right? Everybody who quit earlier thinking, oh, it's a bit of a slow starter. I mean, they've missed a cracking game. I'm going to have to say, without putting in a spoiler, that it is a bit of a slow starter. And Oshiri's walling himself off. Look at this. Ravager walls. Oh. Experimental bomber shot down. Shiri still holds the defense stats. If it worked for those 4, this is over. He's got those. If he can keep those alive, stop the other team re-establishing and buy himself enough time. And there's a lot of mass wrecks over on this side of the map. Look at that, 100,000. It's not every day you see a mass wreck. It's 100,000. And if I zoom out, look at those figures. And they're all on Oshiri. Well, the vast majority is on Oshiri's side of the map. If he's got the APM and the power, he can make something happen. By this Monkey Lord's paying for itself with its long-range cannon. Look at it, 160 kills so far. I wonder if the other team have actually got eyes on it. No, they don't. I mean, they'll see it once in a while flying over. But look at the long-range cannon just picking off the spam. Give me 1 Mex. Nick 420. Poor Nick, man. He handed over his base, like, in the 20th minute or whatever it was to JT. He's had nothing since. And nobody's giving him anything. He's never going to get himself to teleport unless somebody hands it over. I feel his frustration. And he has been handed over a mass point here from Oshiri, which is massive. Because he's never going to get the upgrade done without it. Now you can see the teleporter, it's very slowly, but at least it's moving. Of course, there's energy, there's plenty of spill. Southern team have finally spotted this spider that's been responsible for so many kills, 200 now. And with the transports overhead, the Navy that was in range is able to unload on it. Defense sats continue to roam around, just picking things off. This was quite a high-value target, certainly the quantum gateways. But now we've got nukes once again. Oh, this is a lot of support commanders. This is a nasty nuke. 58 minutes. This is going to be one of the worst things I've ever seen. Look at the energy and mass cost. We're talking 250,000 mass. Oh, that is... Oh, that's going to hurt, right? Anybody who's played this game will know that that was painful. And if Oshiri don't want to quit now, then he's got the patience of a saint, because that was horrific. All of that mass, all of that progress towards the Scathis, he's kept 2 out of I don't know how many support commanders. Psalm 139 laughs his ass off, and I bet he just can't believe what's happened. Because I can't. Oshiri's got Incy Wincy number 2 down here. And again, I bet they've got no idea that... oh, they do. If they're paying attention right there, that is a clue that there's something there. Could of course be a sub, but it's very unlikely, especially when there's no naval yard in that area, but not impossible. I've seen players pull that trick before. Tech 3 naval yard, get a nuclear sub, delete the navy yard to destroy the evidence. Nice pick up there from the monkey butt. Does run into a chicken though, and doesn't manage to pick the battleship, but does get quite a lot on the way. And now an incoming chicken to a Shiri's base. He's got Ravagers for days down here, but he ain't got that many up there. And he says GG. It's just past the hour. It's officially an epic. GG. Ozpaul finishes his Is Nick gonna ever finish it? It's like 3/4 done. Man, if there's a medal for being frustrated, Nick won it. And now Scathis fire. The 6th Scathis.
Strategic launch detected.
And Oshiri is down. I'm just wondering, is there enough stuff left handed over for Nick to complete? He says funny game lol. It was very funny. He gets everything. What little is left, is it enough to finish his teleporter? I don't think so. I don't think so. And Fat Hamster teleports in. Is this going to be one that... Oh no, he's going to... Fat Hamster destroys the defense sat. Is he going to get team killed? This has been a crazy, crazy game. How many sats at peak? I think it was 4. Oh, no. He ain't going to get it, is he? He's not going to get it. He's not got the eco to finish this off. What's he pulling in? 23 mass per tick, 2,100 energy per tick. Well, given enough time, he'll get it. But are they going to let him? Nick calls it. Wow. I was not expecting that, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy it, you know what to do. Leave a like, and until next time, from me, thank you very much for watching. Take care, wherever in the world you may be. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Team 2, very well played. Shows that just once in a while, a comeback is possible. Until next time, take care, bye-bye. See ya, bye-bye.